Hey, what's up guys? Leroy here, and today we're talking about business. We're talking about how you should price yourself, because I think that's something that a lot of photographers struggle with when they're first starting with, is how to price your work. Whether you're a volume photographer, commercial photographer, wedding photographer, boudoir photographer, baby photographer, no matter what type of photography you do, you're gonna have to charge to stay in business. So I wanna break this video down in pretty much 3 different aspects, and like if you guys have other things that I missed, just add in the comments, but these are things that I think are important when pricing your work. So first section, it's gonna be setting your prices. So the first thing you wanna consider when you're doing your pricing is, what are your overhead costs? Do you have a studio? Do you have a room in your house? You know, are you renting a place, or are you working out of your car? Think about what you pay for your business to work in the space that it works. So overhead, that whether it be your space, do you have employees? Do you have equipment that's going bad all the time and you're having to replace it constantly? Anything that costs you money to do the job is your overhead, if that makes sense. So the next piece, which is a very important piece as well, is your expertise. Have you been doing photography for 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 years, 60 years? Think about how good you are at what you do. For instance, there used to be a little thing online about a plumber. He came in, he fixed the plumbing issue in 26 seconds, and he charged the people like $5,000. And they're like, hey man, you weren't even here for 20 minutes. He's like, you're not paying me for my time, you're paying me for my expertise. So figure out what your expertise are and make sure that you know what that is. That way when you go to price, you can price according to your expertise. So far, we got your overhead costs and your expertise. Those are the first 2 factors that you need to focus on when you're building your pricing. Okay, third part of setting your prices is the marketing demand. How much demand is there for photography in your area? Are there 1 million photographers? Are there like 10 photographers? And then you also want to think about, are you niching down, or are you just a general practitioner where you're shooting everything? So here where I'm at, I kind of dabble in several different genres of photography: volume, portrait, commercial, and wedding. So those are 4 different areas that I work in. So I can be higher value in certain parts of my business and less value in other parts. So as a wedding photographer, I'm definitely not the top photographer in town for weddings. There's other photographers who specialize in only weddings. Sports photography would be one of the photographies where I'm possibly one of the top people in the area. So I'd have a much higher perceived value for anything sports related. So think about your expertise, think about your overhead, and you think about the market demand on how you're needed. And then figure out which niche you want to be in, and then figure out how many photographers are actually doing that service. So maybe there's 10,000 photographers in your 250-mile radius, right? Everybody's doing photography on the side nowadays, which isn't bad. It's a good thing, because it's a fun career and it's a great side hustle for a lot of people. But you want to remember how many people are in this niche. So if there's 10,000, like I said, maybe there's only 200 people who are doing school photography. And now those 200, there's only like 50 people who do sport photography. So you're only competing against 50 people. So you need to keep that in mind when you make pricing for your sports photography. And if you're a wedding photographer, everybody's a wedding photographer. Everybody's got an Uncle Bob, and everybody's got a friend with a camera. So if you're a wedding photographer, really do your homework, because there's probably 1,000 wedding photographers per 50-mile radius, seems like, especially where we live. So do your due diligence on that before you set your prices. That way you know exactly what you should be charging. And the last part of setting prices is figure out your value. What is your value? Like we said in the previous topic, my value for sports photography is a lot higher than my value for wedding photography. I'm much more known for sports photography than wedding photography. Can I do both? Yes. Am I pretty good at both? Yes. I would say now that I've been doing photography for over 13 years, I'm pretty much can handle any situation that's thrown at me, because you know, when you live in a small town, you got to be able to service as many people as you can. So make sure you figure out what people perceive your value. In my town, I'm perceived as probably a little bit more luxurious service, being that we have a studio, we have employees, we have contracts with bigger names in our area. So when people see our photography, it's not looked at as, the weekend warrior or anything like that. We're an established business, like I said, with 13 years track record. So our value is going to be perceived a little bit higher than someone who's just starting out 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I say a little bit, you can come in tomorrow and be the best photographer in the world, but it's what people perceive your skill, your craft at. So you have to take that time, build up your branding, make sure you line everything up to where it all looks luxurious and it all looks high end so you can charge higher rates. Okay, so this next section is going to be about creating packages. This is so essential. Everywhere we drive, whether it be McDonald's, Burger King, Starbucks, well, Starbucks doesn't, they're mostly a la carte. But when you go to McDonald's, they say, hey, they don't say, do you want a Big Mac or do you want a fry? They say, do you want number 1, number 2, number 3? And number 1, number 2, and 3, they all come with what? Burger, fries, and a drink. You go to Sonic, same thing. You want number 1, number 2, number 3. It's just consumer behavior. They want a package, they want to line up in the package, and then people who don't want a package, they'll go on the a la carte menu or the side menu, and they'll make a selection off of that. So when you're building your prices, have the user, the consumer in mind. They want small, medium, and large, right? And then if you want to be really froggy, you can add the extra large. For me, I typically stick with 3 different packages. I have a starter, I have the memory, and I have the legacy. But the way they're listed on my pricing page, it's the legacy, the memory, and the starter. I pretty much use that on all genres of my photography. So if you're looking at wedding photography, you're gonna have a legacy package, a starter package, a legacy package, a memory package, and a starter package. You go to sports, you're gonna have a legacy package, a memory package, and a starter package. And each of those will have a la carte items on the side, right? And those a la carte items are really not meant for people to shop from. They're really meant to drive value back into the package. So when you're building your packages, try to make sure you drive value back inside of your package. So can we cut that? So when you're building your packages, make sure you try to drive value of your packages from your a la carte and drive them back into a package. So when they're looking, they know, hey, I need to go back to the package because that's where the most value is. It's just the way consumer behavior is. It's just the way that most people work. I know a lot of photographers who don't use this type of pricing structure and they still do great. They do things like create a collection to where you pick 2 of these, pick 1 of these, pick 3 of these. So they're not so restricted to a certain package, but they're still getting a good value for what they're choosing. This section is going to be all about financial management, how you manage your money. We have to be super conscious when we're photographers not to see what other people around us are charging and just mimic what they're doing. We have to understand cost of business. So in the first section, we talked about overhead. Do you have a studio? Do you do it out of your home? Do you do it out of your car? Obviously, if you're working out of your car, you're gonna have a nicer car, right? Me, for instance, I work in a nicer studio, so my car is just a beater. I just drive whatever car I can get that I don't have a note. My car is not the fanciest. When people come to meet me, they come to a nice office that's high end for my area. It's nice. We offer them water. I think we got like Fiji water or some kind of nice water that people might want that's like, oh, wow, I'll get this. And we have the nicest things for them to touch when they get in. That way they're having a true high-end experience. So think about those costs. If you're working out of your house, is your business taking up most of your house? If it is, maybe it needs to pay more of your rent or more of your mortgage. So those are things to consider when you're thinking about making your prices. You don't want to price to where every time you go and do a shoot, it's costing you money. You want to do a shoot and you want to make money every time. So let's say you want to make $12,000 a year doing photography and you want to work 12 months a year doing photography, so you need to make $1,000 a month in photography. So for that $1,000, you're going to shoot 4 shoots because you have 4 weekends. And each of those shoots, you want to attempt to make $250 per shoot. So the first thing that most business schools will teach you is to take whatever amount of money you want to make and multiply it by 3. So if you're going with this $1,000 a month goal, then each of your shoots should be at minimum $750. $250 for your profit, $250 for your expenses, and $250 for your cost of goods sold, if that makes sense. These are not exact numbers. Obviously, different products are going to have different margins, but for a global, just a global idea of it, you typically want to go 3 on everything. Some things you'll need more because you have other costs inside, retouching costs, and if you have staff, that's a cost, and if you have insurance, gear replacement, all these things you're going to have to factor into your prices. But a good place to start is 3 for pricing. After that, you'll know I'm doing 4 shoots a month. So 4 shoots at $750 will give you this number, which I cannot think of right now. So once you're making that much a month, that is what you need to charge to make your year of $12,000 worth of profit. But wait, don't forget about taxes. Make sure you find a great accountant or a great person who can help you do your books to make sure that all the money you make doesn't end up going to the government. So you want to consider those factors as well when making your pricing list. So today's video is pretty brief. It's about setting up your pricing. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing for pricing. Leave it in the comments. I feel like this is a topic that doesn't get talked about a lot, but it has tremendous value for anyone being in any type of business. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and I cannot wait to see you guys on the next one. Peace. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning into that last video, and we want to thank you guys for all the support you've been giving to the channel lately. It seems like every day there's new subscribers, which is super fun, and just making this content for you guys as it goes. Please continue to comment, continue to like, continue to share. I love interacting with you guys in the comments, and the more you comment, the more I respond. So can't wait to see you guys on the next one, and thanks so much for being here.